Well, each year, the CDC says more than 1.5 million Americans develop sepsis.
It begins with an infection that throws the body into an extreme, sometimes fatal response known as septic shock. So time is really critical, and the Fox Medical team's Beth Galvin has one local survivor's harrowing story.
Sepsis is extremely common, and anyone who develops an infection can develop it. But it's a medical emergency that most of us know almost nothing about, which is why Kim Steele is telling her survivor's story.
There we go.
The ordeal that changed Kim Steele's life, the one that nearly took her life, began quietly with a nagging feeling that something wasn't right.
I thought I was just maybe sick, getting the flu maybe.
It was May 14th, 2016. Steele, who's now 50, says her heart had been racing and she was feeling thirsty and feverish and confused. Then things really started to unravel.
Got to where I couldn't breathe. I was having real trouble breathing.
Rushed to Piedmont Henry Hospital's ER, she was now critically ill.
Within 30 minutes after I got there, I coded the first time. Then I coded again. I was out 5 minutes. They brought me back. I coded again, was out 3.
Moved to the intensive care unit, Steele was in septic shock.
An infection invades your body, and it's really the chaotic way that your body responds.
Sepsis kills more than 250,000 Americans every year. So Piedmont Henry intensivist Dr. Greg Evans says in the medical community, they talk about it all the time. But Kim had never heard of sepsis, and Dr. Evans says few people outside the hospital walls know the warning signs.
So number one is, do you have an infection? Do you have the symptoms of a urinary tract infection? Do you have a cut on your hand or anywhere on your body that's looking worse? Do you have a productive cough that's getting worse?
Dr. Evans thinks pneumonia may have sent Kim spiraling, but whatever it was, she was now in a medically induced coma on a breathing machine as Evans and his team pushed IV fluids, antibiotics, and medication trying to save her.
They told my family that I had a less than 9% chance of surviving.
Kim pulled through, but the sepsis and the medication had cut off the blood flow to her limbs, which were now turning blue, then black.
And then they told me that I was going to lose my hands and probably my feet.
By June, a surgeon was amputating her hands. By November, her legs below the knee, and she found herself a quadruple amputee.
I got in such a deep depression that I didn't think that I was ever going to be able to do anything again. I felt like my life was over.
But with intensive rehabilitation, Kim learned to walk again on prosthetic limbs and drive and cook with artificial hands.
I take care of my dogs. I put them on their leashes, take them for a walk. If you have the mindset to be strong, work hard, you can do anything you put your mind to.
She's a sepsis survivor. I mean, she's truly a survivor.
Ready to go back in, Peanut?
And these days, Kim Steele
Come on, Peanut.
is standing proud.
Because looking back now and where I'm at today, I'm stronger now than I was back then.
And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says there is no one single symptom of sepsis. You can feel confused, short of breath, have a rapid heart rate, a fever, or even pain. So if you suspect that you may have an infection like pneumonia or a urinary tract infection, or even a cut on your skin that's become infected, get treatment quickly and ask the doctor if it could be sepsis. For the Fox Medical team, I'm Beth Galvin.